Hello and welcome to another session of Groundbreakers Live. I'm your host Javed Mohammed, and I'm very honored to have with us Johnnie Konstantas, who is the Senior Director of Oracle North America Cloud Engineering Group. Johnnie, welcome.
Thank you so much, Javed. Really
Okay,
glad to be here.
thank you. So you are presenting at the Oracle DevLive Cloud Native Apps conference that's going on this week. And you have a particular session in there, Cloud Native Security, Processes and Tools to Protect Modern Applications. So I wanted to kind of just start off, Johnnie, and just kind of get your take on, it's cloud native is a term that gets bandied around a lot. It's like beauty, everyone's kind of got their own definition. Some people think of it as apps that are developed using microservices, others, deploying containers. If you're thinking of orchestration, maybe Kubernetes is involved. Others think it involves DevOps and the CI/CD pipeline. What's your take? What does cloud native mean to you?
Yeah, well, you have to remember that my reason in life is security. I lead field engineering for cloud security. So when I hear cloud native, I think, oh gosh, an opportunity for developers to build security in from the start. I
Okay.
think about all the ways in which there's a chance to develop secure code, to follow best practices when it comes to things like coding and storing passwords, to apply all the controls, all the very easy to use controls that Oracle Cloud Infrastructure gives developers to essentially be creative on the cloud, be transformative, but also be safe for the long term.
Okay. And obviously, because security is such a broad topic, so what are you going to be covering in your presentation?
Yeah, I want people to become familiar with actually some of the cloud native security services that are available to developers and all the ways in which we have embedded expertise in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, that is security expertise, so that anyone developing on our cloud doesn't have to be an expert. They can simply leverage the tools that are there for secure development.
And you mentioned about some of the things about having some best practices. I don't want you to cover all of them, but are there a couple of best practices you can share with us, just to kind of give us a feel?
Sure. Well, anything publicly accessible on the cloud is generally a bad idea, right? So we keep seeing headlines about public buckets that have sensitive information, and somehow that information leaves and ends up in the wrong hands. So, if you can avoid it, no publicly accessible object stores. Hard coding passwords into, putting passwords in code, not a good idea. Use encryption. Use encryption that is managed by you, meaning rather than letting the service generate the encryption key, import your own encryption key, so that way you can rotate the key and protect the encryption mechanisms on your own pace.
Okay. And in a world where obviously, we always hear of major security breaches, where do you think we are, relatively speaking, and I'm not just talking about from an Oracle perspective, but just from a industry and society standpoint, from a security standpoint, compared to how things were on premises versus in the cloud?
Well, I just think that the footprint that we have to protect has grown and grown exponentially, right? So in our private data centers, the bounds were very clear, that there were the four walls of the data center, and the points of ingress and egress of traffic were also very clear. You switch to a world where everything is in virtual space. The pathways of traffic are almost incalculable. You think about the fact that most of us have multi-cloud strategies, so we have our estate now span premises and multiple public cloud providers. That's a much bigger footprint to protect, a much more complex environment to protect, and it's a set of intercommunicating endpoints. So the job has gotten tougher, but the tools, by virtue of the cloud, the tools that we're providing are also smarter, more agile, the security tools themselves and easier to use. So I think at the end, in the net, you're more secure in the public cloud if you use all of the tools available to you.
Okay. I'm going to ask you like a little personal question. I'm just looking at the back there. You've got some interesting books and stuff over there. For someone who's involved in the security field, it's always like, asking someone who's like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, are you always analyzing? So for someone who's in the security, are you always like, when you are out there in the world, are you always a little, I don't know, paranoid may not be the right word, but focused on, oh, this could break this, or this could be a risk? Are you always kind of evaluating that as you go out in the world?
Absolutely. Every security person will tell you that paranoia is just a part of the physical makeup. So you're walking through an airport and you're assessing risk, looking for, which doorways are blocked, or, social media use, right? So I think about every post. Am I telling people where I am, where I've been, how long I'll be on vacation? In fact, I use social media very little except for business, and even then, I double and triple check what it is that I'm saying and try to evaluate whether I'm
Uh-huh.
exposing risk, photographs I share, information at parties.
Uh-huh.
You're always trying to dial down risk and minimize risk.
Okay. Well, Johnnie, I think it's a fascinating presentation, and thank you for sharing about yourself, and all the best.
Thank you, Javed. Take care.
Thank you.